session of the pathology discussions, and today in succession to the previous video what I have uploaded on the autosomal dominant disorders, in succession to that video the next topic of my discussion will be about the autosomal recessive disorders. So students, when it comes to the NEET PG entrance exam preparations or for the various medical and dental PG entrance exams, it has been a very favorite and a very frequently asked topic in the form of multiple choice questions. So in this video, I'll be mainly focusing upon the mnemonics as to how we can choose a particular option from the in the MCQs about a particular autosomal recessive disorder, and the striking and the distinguishing features of a particular autosomal recessive disorders. So students, beginning with the special or the characteristic distinguishing features about the autosomal recessive disorders. So students, beginning with the first point, that is these autosomal recessive disorders, the first and the foremost distinguishing feature, it is about the predilection. So the autosomal recessive disorders, it has been found that they are mostly manifested equally both in males and in females. And in contrast to the autosomal dominant disorders, where we have seen that those autosomal dominant disorders, they are mostly manifested in the heterozygous state. So here, that is in the autosomal recessive disorders, they are expressed in the homozygous state. So students, do remember, the autosomal recessive disorders, they are mostly expressed whenever it is in the homozygous state. Moving on to the next point, that is usually the autosomal recessive disorders, it is usually due to a particular enzyme deficiency. So students, do remember, when in a particular option, when you are not sure as to what option you need to take, so here in that condition, mostly do remember, whenever they are asking about a particular autosomal recessive disorder, students, do remember the conditions, the disorders, what are mostly seen due to a particular enzyme deficiency. Those disorders, they come under the category of the autosomal recessive disorders. So the autosomal recessive disorders, they usually occur due to the deficiency of a particular enzyme. Moving on to the next important point, that is in the autosomal recessive disorders, the skip generations are absent. So in contrast to the autosomal dominant disorders, where we have already seen that skip disorders, the skip generations, they are absent. The skip generations, they were absent, but here the skip generations, they are present in case of an autosomal recessive disorder. Finally, moving on to the next point, that is these autosomal recessive disorders, they are mostly manifested during the childhood. Usually the disorders, what the features what are manifested during an autosomal recessive disorders, they are mostly found in the childhood. And moving on to the last but not the least, that is about the penetrance. So usually the autosomal recessive disorders, they are going to show a complete penetrance. So by the term complete penetrance, I mean that if a particular gene is getting mutated, and if that particular gene is present in an individual, so that particular gene is going to manifest that disease in all the individuals. All right, so this is actually the exact meaning of complete penetrance. If a particular gene having the defect is present in an individual, it is certainly going to respond in the form, it is certainly going to manifest in the form of that particular disorder. Now moving on to the mnemonic over here. So students, do remember the mnemonic, there are lots and lots of disorders what come under the autosomal recessive disorders, but the mnemonic what I have made to easily recollect about these 6 disorders is about the mnemonic what I have made is the Gall's gap. So where every alphabet of the Gall's, GALS and GAP of the gap will correspond to one of the medical conditions, one of the disorders what are autosomal recessive. So students, in the exams, you can remember this mnemonic, that is the Gall's gap, and you can very easily choose a particular option when they ask you about about a particular autosomal recessive disorder. So students, beginning with the G of the gall is going to refer to the glycogen storage disorder. The A is going to the alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. So students, do remember the alpha-1 antitrypsin, it is an enzyme which is associated with the alveoli of the lungs. So since it is an enzyme deficiency, so therefore a particular enzyme deficiency disorder has to be an autosomal recessive disorder. Moving on to the next, that is the L of the galls, it is going to refer to the lysosomal storage disorders. Moving on to the G of the gap, so the G is going to refer to the Gaucher's disease. The A of the gap is going to refer to the albinism, and finally the P of the gap is going to refer to the phenylketonuria. So students, this was a short discussion about the distinguishing features, the striking features about the autosomal recessive disorders and the associated mnemonic, as to how we can very easily recollect during the exams about the list of the disorders what come under the category of the autosomal recessive disorders. So students, if you do like my video, don't forget to put the thumbs up over there, like my video, and if you do like my video, don't forget to subscribe my channel and do press the bell icon so that you can be further updated for my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.